All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. NorCal Sports Network. Final game of the Cactus League for the San Francisco Giants. They just won't lose. Team's resilient. They're hitting the ball off, recover off the ball all over spring, but they bounce back today. Down 7-3 in the eighth. They tie it up, almost win it. Missing by about a foot. A grand slam by Stadium Ceballos. Boy, what do you say? We'll talk about it right here. First, let us thank our sponsor, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin, licensed in all of California. Check out Chapman Law Group. Give them a call, 415-613-9483. I'm starting to memorize that number. Chapman Law Group, give them a call for all your legal needs, whether it's a personal injury situation, which they specialize in, or just you need some legal documents. Give Chapman Law Group a call. All right, guys. Saturday afternoon, the Giants finally finish up the Cactus League. They end up with a record of I think it was 19-6. Yeah, 19-6. And I think today might have been their fourth tie, something like that. Maybe fourth or fifth tie, at least four. And we say hello to everybody out there in the chat. Shardall hanging out with us, Mike Val, Spencer Stewart, and Matthew all the way from Atlanta stepping on in. And yeah. And then we've got, who else did I see in there? I thought I saw, I guess I didn't. Sleepy Gaming. Yo, what's up? All right, guys. 7-7 Giants tie it up. They hit 4 home runs in this game. The long ball coming courtesy of, I think maybe it was 3 homers. Matt Chapman got his 6th in the 4th inning off Merrill Kelly. And Patrick Bailey also homered in the 4th inning off Merrill Kelly. And Mike Yastrzemski, 4 homers, or his 4th homer in the 4th inning as well. So Yaz hits 4 homers, ends up the Cactus League hitting 282, respectable. They all have an OPS. Listen to the OPSs of the Giants this spring. Lamont Wade Jr., 864. Matos, 799. Willie Adames, 1,043. I'm not going to name off some of the guys like Cost, guys that, that aren't going to be around on the Major League roster. Elliot Ramos, 766. Matt Chapman, I just mentioned, with 6 homers, 1,395 OPS. Incredible spring for him. Patrick Bailey, 851. Max Stassi came on late. I don't think he makes the opening day roster. I think that goes to Hill. But he had a 1,012 OPS. Yaz is 1,008. Wilmer Flores, 750. Wisely, 786. Grant McCray, I don't think he makes it, but 766. And a lot of contribution. This Sabian Ceballos, check out his OPS, 1633. Spencer Stewart said tied 4 games. Okay, so they go finish 19-6 with 4 ties. That's what I thought it was. Well, thank you for that, Spencer. So Sabian Ceballos, I think he ended up 9 for 13 or something. The guy's a hitting machine. 3rd round pick out of the University of Oregon. Ceballos was drafted in the 3rd round out of Oregon. Hold on one sec here, guys. All right. My wife there bringing me some water. Sabian Ceballos, drafted by the Atlanta Braves in the third round, 94th pick of the 2023 draft, from Puerto Rico. And he's 23 years old. No, he's 22 years old, actually. He'll be 23 in August. This guy's been a hitting machine. His scouting report on Ceballos: a large physical third baseman with impressive raw power, good arm strength, and a reputation as a solid hitter. This guy might be something that they, I think they got him in the trade for Soler, or I don't know if it was a separate trade with Luke Jackson or if that was the same deal. You guys remember if Luke Jackson and Soler were in the same deal? Because I know Ceballos came in that Jackson was part of the deal. I don't know if that was separate or the same, but hey, skaters, what's happening out there? Mike Val, Encarnacion, yeah, thoughts. He goes out, guys. He's out with a fractured finger. He will start the season on the IL. I'm going to get to that. In fact, let's get to the injury report and some of the roster moves that the Giants made today. And the fractured finger for Encarnacion let's see what the time frame is. MRI testing revealed a hairline fracture in his left hand around the knuckle on his ring finger. So right there, right on that finger, left hand fracture. He was putting himself into the position of getting quite a few at bats, and rightly so. Manager Bob Melvin said, based on what we saw last year and based on what we saw in the spring, there's a lot to like: power, dynamic play, the infield, and a little bit at first, play the outfield, DH. Let's see if they give us a timeline. 4 to 5 weeks. So he won't be probably eligible to come back until around the 1st of May. That's a blow for the Giants and Encarnacion's own, development. So what that means for the roster spot, this might give David Villar a little more life because he was set to be released or traded. Grant McCray could step in. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Dang. So you like his attitude. He says in Spanish, he said, "I don't feel disappointed. I feel confident in God. This was his plan," he said in Spanish. "So the only thing I can do is just continue to wait. I know that I can do the job when the time comes, but I don't feel discouraged at all." Okay. Well, good to hear. I like hearing that kind of talk. So what are we going to do here? Oh, by the way, guys, other transactions that the Giants made today: Kyle Harrison was sent to Sacramento along with Keaton Wynn and Tristan Beck. All expected. I'll tell you what I expect. They also optioned Wade Meckler yesterday. So all those are expected. What I think is going to be the rotation, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow night on Giants Sports Talk Live right here on NorCal Sports Network at 8 o'clock as we team up with Giants Sports Talk Live there. Stephen Ortega asking the question. Yeah, it's 4 to 5 weeks, Stephen, is the injury. So if you figure 5 weeks from today, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. April 26th, 5 weeks. So not the end of the world, So I would, it's possible he comes back even earlier, but probably figure the 1st of May right in there because he's going to need at least a week of rehab. JB says, I'd say Encarnacion goes on the 60. I don't know if they want to do that, JB, for an injury that's 30 days. That really sets your roster back. What happens if you have an injury to Flores or Wade and need another first baseman, and now you're kind of locking yourself up in? And I see what you're saying, because then they don't have to, they create another roster spot for a non-roster player. But I think it's a little too much to put him on the 60. But I do have some predictions here when it comes to the staff, the pitching staff. I do think I think Hayden Birdsong gets that 5th spot. And I think the bullpen is going to look like this. I don't think Landon Roop is going to be on the team. I think he probably gets optioned to AAA next week so he can be stretched out as a starter. I think the bullpen is going to consist of 8 guys. I think it's obviously Ryan Walker is the closer, and then you got Camilo Doval, Tyler Rogers. You've got Eric Miller, that's 4. And he's your only lefty on the 40-man roster. I think they add Joey Lucchesi as a non-roster. That would be your 5th guy. And I think Sean Jelly gets a spot. Probably Randy Rodriguez over how you say his name, Pegaro. That guy's throwing bullets. Randy Rodriguez been a little wild. He's hit like 3 or 4 guys, or a couple guys, walked a lot of guys. That could be it. You could go Pagario. How do you say it? I don't know. Pagario, I think it is. I think he could get the spot if they decide Rodriguez needs to work on his command a little more. And then I think Trevino makes it. Okay. So I think that's your Skater says he got sent down. I didn't see that. Let me look. That Lucchesi got sent down. Lucchesi got sent on assignment. When did that happen, Skaters? Did that happen today? Because it's not showing up in the transactions. Let me look that one up. I did not see that. So Joey Lucchesi, you're saying, got sent. Let's see, Joey LUC. Let me see if there's any news on him. Where'd you hear that? I haven't seen that. So I still think he gets a roster spot. I may be wrong. I don't see it, Skaters. Unofficial. Maybe it was if you were listening to the game. I didn't listen to the whole game, so I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. If Lucchesi doesn't make it, then wow. I don't know who else would make it that's on the roster. I mean, if you look at the Giants 40-man roster right now. The actual Beck's down. Oh, Bivens still could make it. Bivens could be the guy that makes it if they want to keep someone on there. Let's see. Okay. Just answering a text. I'm just kind of looking here at the other guys. I mentioned Harrison's down. I still think the Giants, the best, if you want to put the best team together, you should make Roop and Birdsong the 4th and 5th starters and move Jordan Hicks to the back end of the bullpen. That makes the team that much more dynamic, gives you some trade flexibility as well. So you just lengthen your team. You expand your roster. You make it more effective, which then, the pecking order changes. And now you have guys that are, you can keep them as depth or they become expendable in a trade for a position you might need. Maybe you trade one of these younger right-handed relievers for an established left-handed reliever that's inexpensive. I mean, you already had Taylor Rogers, but you didn't want to pay the money, so you moved off of him. So maybe you can find a left-handed reliever out there that's kind of a specialist facing lefties. Guys like Tim Hill, who I liked when he was with the Padres. I think he's with the Yankees now. But there's a lot of lefties out there. Tyler Horton of Detroit, I really like him. A lot of left, but Detroit's not going to trade him. But tell me your thoughts, guys, on this Giants club. They go 19-6 with 4 ties. Tomorrow they head up to Sacramento to play the River Cats, and then it's Monday night and Tuesday night against the Tigers. So 3 games left. 3 games left. Casey Schmidt should be coming back into the lineup. From what I hear, he's been out for 4 or 5 days with a tightness in his back, and he's scheduled to be back tomorrow night. So that really may have hurt any chances he had of making the roster. But then, injuries still happen, guys. It's just amazing how things turn up at the very end of spring training. There could be a trade that happens. A lot of times trades happen in this first few days before the season starts or the last days of spring training. You'll see some trades because teams are looking to cut rosters. Guys like the Giants, they don't have any room for VR as far as options. He doesn't have options. So VR has to make the 26-man roster, or he has to be traded or put on waivers. And the only way that David Villar remains with this San Francisco Giants team is if for some reason there's injuries to positions he plays at and they need him, or he clears waivers because no one else wants him, and he comes back as a non-roster player with the Giants. So Daniel S. Light the Green Beam. Go A's. How long until the Fitz everyday second base experiment ends? I hope I'm wrong, but I think on a very good team, he can't be more than a super utility guy. I've been saying that, Daniel. I think we could see a real regression in Tyler Fitzgerald. He hit like 280 last year. I don't think he hits 280 in the majors this year. He struggles with contact. He strikes out a ton. And I've always liked him as a super utility guy. A guy with speed that can play center, left, right, first, second, third, short. Could play 7 positions, and he can play them pretty effectively. I don't think he will be an everyday player. That's my guess. I could be wrong. I think Casey Schmidt is cut out to be more of an everyday player that makes more consistent contact. Yeah, Fitz can be the flashy guy, but Fitz is a guy that would be dynamic, I think, moving around the diamond, giving guys a day off. Give Chapman a day off. If Casey Schmidt becomes your second baseman, you could give Chapman a day off and make Chapman the DH. Schmidt can move over to third. Tyler could play second that day. You want to give Willie Adames a day off. Fitzgerald could do that for a day. You want to give Jung-Hoo Lee a day off. And you want to play, an all right-handed lineup against a lefty. You could take Lee out. You could take Yaz out. There's so much you could do with Tyler Fitzgerald as a super utility guy. I just think that would be a really good spot. But we'll see. He's got the second base job. Let's see how he does with it. Maybe he runs with it and he hits you 260. He hits 15 homers. He gives you 65 RBIs and steals 25, 30 bases. And, you live with that. If he plays solid defense, you live with that. So, we'll see. We'll see. I think if you want to go defensively, I think Fitz can carry the second base. Okay. Let's hope he does well. Look, Giants have a little more depth now that these guys are getting a little older, a little more established. They're getting some big league experience. Casey Schmidt could be a great piece to have as a backup if something happens to Chapman. Again, the second base. Oh, look at this in our league. That's funny. I love it. All right. We'll take that. One of our guys just dropped a guy and to add Sabin Sabalas to his fantasy club. I'm glad he did it because he dropped Kobe Mayo. Sabin Sabalas is not going to make it to the big league level this year. I don't believe. I think his highest level he played last year was at high A. So you can't expect a guy to go from high A to the big leagues in one season. It doesn't happen that often. Let me see what Sabalas' stats were. I don't think he even went to Richmond last year, did he? No. Highest he's ever played is high A, so he's not gonna jump double A and triple A and then make it to the big leagues this year. Okay. Well, that's good. Don Michio, any update on Kobe Mayo? Baltimore looking to trade him? Not sure about that. I want to see us trade for him, either Harrison or someone. I think that would be a great trade. I put a video out on it the other day, Don. I think Harrison still has a lot of upside. He's young. Look, Harrison had a virus this year and lost like 13 pounds. That wipes you out. It's going to take a full month just for him to get back into his strength and all that. So, no, Mark, it's not. It's not. It's someone else, but I'm. I kind of. I love how. Yeah, that's good news. Good news. We'll say that for. Okay. Mike McVoy, he says he likes Casey, but thinks he's paying me for a promo to promote him. No, I've just been watching ball a long time, Mike. And I recognize talent. Casey Schmidt, just because a guy didn't hit well his first year and looked foolish, he made adjustments. And I think he's probably a stronger everyday player than someone like a Brett Wisely for sure, or a Tyler Fitzgerald. We'll see. So I really believe you got to look at the growth and development of players, guys. You can't. I mean, a lot of you guys, if you were around in 1987, you guys would have given up on Matt Williams. I mean, have you guys? Some of you weren't even around when Matt Williams came up. I was in my 20s. He came up. Matt Williams came up. I believe it was 87. Yeah. In fact, you know what, guys? I want to show you something just so you're aware. Matt Williams looked foolish for 2 years. Okay. Take a look at Matt Williams at 21 years old. He came up 266 plate appearances, was hitting 188, struck out 68 times in 266 plate appearances. Okay. Let me just do the math on that. Only 18%, believe it or not. That's how much strikeouts have gone up with the advent of drivetrain, people's velocity going up from the low 90s to 100. You know, the average fastball in the majors is probably over 95 now, which was at the top of the heap in the 80s. But Matt Williams, he had, let's just take a look at his bats. 244, 156, 244 plus 156 plus 292. 692 at bats. You want to know how many hits he had total? 46 plus 32 plus 59. 137 hits divided by 6. I hit the wrong button. 137 divided by 696. He was hitting 197 in 700 at bats. Okay? Matt Williams hitting 197 roughly in his first 700 bats. So Rob C. graduated high school in 87. Okay, yeah. You're 7 years behind me. So if you want to take a look at this, the difference. So Matt Williams, and then look what he did in his fourth year in 1990. He went from a career batting average of 197. He hit 277 with 617 at bats, 122 RBIs with 33 homers. Okay, guys, baseball takes a while to develop. And Williams was younger than Casey. I admit, Williams was, Casey's like 26, I want to say right now. He's not a rookie anymore, but if you look at, hold on here, what's going on? I want to show you guys something. Okay. Now, I just pulled up Casey Schmidt's numbers here, okay? So Casey is 26 years old, just turned 26 this month, March 1st. Okay. So he's 26. But remember, Matt Chapman, 696 lifetime at bats, right? Hitting 197. Casey has had a career bats. What did I do? Come on. All right, here we go. All right, Casey's had 360 at-bats. And he's got 79 hits. He's hit 219. First year he hit 206. Last year he hit 252. All right. So what does this mean? He's facing tougher pitching today, and he's hitting better. He's only had 300. He's had roughly half the amount of at-bats that Matt Williams had. 360 to 696. So a little more than half the at-bats. Okay. 360 times 2, 720. So he's just barely over half the amount of at-bats that Matt Williams had in his first 3 years. Parts of 3 years for Matt Williams, by the way. Up and down, just like Casey. Guys, when you start playing regular and you see pitches every day, you make adjustments. It's how you get better. You start seeing things. This is why the Giants, what they did under Farhan, under the regime of Farhan, was such a disaster, because they weren't good teams, as evidenced by their record and their failure with runners in scoring position. They didn't develop these guys and let them get their at-bats when they were not good. That's when you give them their at-bats so that they develop. They're not hurting the team by trying to develop on a really, really good team. When you suck or you're mid, you don't play guys like Austin Slater, Mike Yastrzemski. You don't go out and get guys like AJ Pollock and some of the other yahoos that this team has had. You play the young guys. Imagine if Matos had 300-400 more bats right now. What happens if Marco Luciano had 300-400 more bats in the big leagues? How about Casey Schmidt having 200-300 more bats right now? Look, all these guys should have been developing the last 2 seasons. And then once they're, then they're ready. They've seen it all. But you can't be jerked around up and down from Sacramento to San Francisco and then come up and sit for 4 or 5 days a week because you want a platoon. It's ridiculous. This platoon crap that the Giants employed. I mean, Larry Baer should be thrown out of the building. Seriously, for bringing in Farhan and keeping this clown. The Giants got set back so far back by playing platoon with their younger players. It's a joke. Imagine if Marco Luciano had 200-300 more bats. Where would he be today? You got to let these guys. Yeah, so they fail and they hit 200 and they strike out 30% of the time and they look foolish. Well, where are you going to learn to develop? Yeah, Spencer, Baer and Johnson, the biggest problems in the San Francisco organization. Yeah, Larry Baer has been a disaster for the Giants and Greg Johnson. The moment Larry Baer got caught up with that fiasco with his wife, with the cell phone and all that, where he grabbed the phone and she lost balance on the chair and all that. And that was just, what a good organization would have done. They would have said, all right, we're going to give you help, but you're no longer going to be in the position you're going to be in. And now he's still making noise with the position. I don't know. I agree, Anthony. I think they should have fired him right there. Should have fired him right on the spot and just said, you know what? Go, we'll pay for your rehab, but you're fired. Look, it's he's been a disaster for the Giants. And the Giants having him hang around, number one, he's the one solely responsible, single-handedly. He picked Farhan Zaidi. And then as soon as he picks Farhan, he has this fiasco And then Greg Johnson takes over. And Greg Johnson is in a position he doesn't even want to be in. He doesn't care about baseball. It's crazy. Yeah, Bear wants Julio Urias. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking at this Giants team going in. We'll break it down tomorrow, give you predictions on the team. I think it's going to be a little bit similar record-wise to the last few years. I think they do win a few more games. Got them in the 84, 85-ish range, right in there. I think that's where they end up. They could surprise and go a little bit more. It's going to be, the key is going to be how their health is, right? So we'll see where this thing goes. Anthony Merkovich, I agree with you. I'm on record as saying, Willy Adames hit 14 three-run homers last year. He came up with runners in scoring position. I wish I could find the statistic. I've been looking for it. I read it. It's been about a month. Haven't been able to recapture the article. I'm gonna Google something here. Willy Adames. Let's see. Here we go. Maybe this might be part of it. Okay. Willy Adames. Let's see. Where's my Adames? I know he had 14 three-run homers last year. All right. That's 42 of his 112 RBIs. That's not likely to happen where you hit 14 three-run homers. Let's say he hits 8 of them. All right. Well, there's 18 RBIs you just lost right there, right? Off home runs. So now you're down from 112. Now you're down to 94? Okay. And then he had more runners on base in scoring position than any player like in the last 5 years or something. It was crazy. I still haven't been able to find the exact. Okay. His 112 RBIs total was inflated by a record-tying 14 three-run homers, with Adames suddenly becoming a clutch monster. In fact, only 11 of his 32 homers were solo. So that means he hit 14 three-run homers and 21. That means he hit 7 two-run homers. And he added his 5th career grand slam. Okay, so yeah, it's not rare to see upcoming free agents play with a different intensity in their walk year, but the Giants have to be encouraged by many of the underlying numbers that support Adames' roster. Look, I think Adames is still a good player. I think he probably hits somewhere around 24, 25 homers this year. That's kind of where I think he lands. Maybe he breaks the streak of 30 that the Giants have all the way back to 2004 with Barry Bonds. But I don't think so. I think the streak continues. I think Willie ends up, I've got him finishing around 90 RBIs, which is still pretty good. But I think from 112, I don't see the Giants having that many people on base in front of him. He's batting second in the order, so that means the bottom of the order is going to have to be on base, right? So it should be interesting to see how the bottom of the order bats. Because if the bottom of the order is not getting on, Willie's not going to have any RBI opportunities in the 2-hole. I think He might be better suited. I don't like Matt Chapman in the 4 hole, even though he's had a great spring. Let's see if it carries over. I hope it does. I hope I'm really, really wrong on this. And Matt Chapman just has a killer year. It has his most productive big league year. I mean, Matt Chapman's best year was 2019. Okay. And in 2019, Chapman had his most RBIs ever in his career, which was, I believe it was like 91, I want to say. Let me look it up. Yeah, Matt Chapman's RBI high was in 2019. He had 91 RBIs. Okay. You want to look at something here crazy? You guys think, the reason Matt Chapman doesn't drive in a lot of runs is he has a very low batting average, like 206 with runners in scoring position. Take a look at his RBI totals. That's there it is, guys. By year. Last year was his second most RBIs ever, 78. So then he's had 76, 72, 68, 54. Look at that, 54 RBIs. How do you have 581 at bats or plate appearances, 509, and only drive in 54 runs? Wow. That's a bad year. That was the 23 season, and then the Giants turn around and sign him to a nice contract last year. So he's pretty consistent with home runs. 24, 20, or 27, 27, 27. Yeah, I'm not even going to count the 17 season. It was he was a rookie. But where's Matt Chapman to bat fourth? So, the 27 homers, he's actually averaging, right in that range. We'll see. Like, I'm hoping he has a great year. I hope he has a great year, because if he has a great year, the Giants will be a winning team. And Chapman can carry a team when he's hot. The question is, does he stay hot? He has a history of having streaks, let me pull something up for you guys here. Look at Matt Chapman's 23 season here. Let me get rid of this. Okay, his 23 season. You guys all see that, right? He hit 240. Oops, I don't have it up there. Sorry. Let me pull this back up. I accidentally have it knocked off. Okay, Chapman in 23 hit 240 batting average, okay? But if I pull up his stats by the month, let me see if they have that. Advanced batting. He was leading the league in hitting through the month of April, Matt Chapman. Let me see if I can find this statistic here. Hold on. Batting splits. Maybe it'll give me the splits here. No, I'm not seeing it by month. You guys remember that, right? Oh, here it is. Here it is, months. Look at, guys. Look at Matt Chapman right here. You see that? He's very streaky. What he's doing right now is spring training numbers. Okay? You guys all see that? Let me highlight it again. Come on, stay. Oh, I guess when I move off of it, I'm trying to blow it up for you. Okay, look at April and March for Matt Chapman. And then look at the rest of the year. he goes from 384 in April and March, 202 in May, 200 in June, starts picking it up again July, goes back down in August and September. This is the history of Matt Chapman, guys. So what he's doing now isn't like got me all, whoa, because he does this every April and March and April. I don't know what it is. He comes out hitting. Look at how much difference he does everything. He's not even close the rest of the year. He hits almost 400. How do you guys, has anybody ever, I've been telling you guys this. Matt Chapman is a guy that is streaky. I didn't even realize it was this bad, guys. His average drops almost in half. This is his career. Or not his career. I take that back. This is, let me look here. Let me go back here. This is 23. I'm sorry. This is the 23 season. Okay. We're on 23. So look at that. He was leading the league. Now let's take a look at Chapman in another season. Hold on. You know what? Forget the season. Let's just look at his career numbers. Let's see what his career numbers look like. Batting splits for a career. All right, here we go. We got to pull up the months by month. Batting order positions. Let's take a look at his batting order positions, guys. This is his career. Okay. His batting average, batting seventh, is 262. Where have I told you guys he should be batting? 262. Where's he bat? Fourth, 229. Home runs, 28. He best bats seventh or second. Okay. I think they ought to flip Adames and Chapman almost. Look where he bats. Is the lower he goes, he sees better pitches. Okay. Now let's look at him, his entire career batting by the month. Hold on here. Let me ballparks. Where's the month? Did I miss it? Sorry, guys. This is kind of making me dizzy. Clutch stats. All right. Get the ad off there. We're not here to promote State Farm. Where's the X? I don't want State Farm on here. There we go. It's gone. Clutch stats. Two outs, runners in scoring position. He's hitting 217. Two outs with runners in scoring position. He's hitting 217. These aren't good numbers, batting average wise. Slugging. OPS. Not really that great in clutch. Occasionally comes through. He does better off finesse pitchers. He hits 273 off finesse pitchers versus power hitters hitting 198. Power pitchers, 198. All right. So I don't want to beat it. I don't like to just be negative. I'm hitting you with facts, though, not opinion. I wanted to see the month. Do they have by the month for his career? We saw clutch. Hold on here. Yeah, these if you dive into these numbers, they're not very good with runners, even with runners in scoring position. He does best when it's, he hits the most with 0 outs, highest batting average. Hold on, I'm looking for, man, they got a lot on here. I don't want to go balls and strikes because that's almost every batter for the most part. Here we go. This is what I was looking for, guys. Split months. May seems to be his worst month, and September. Okay. So he hits his highest batting average, as I said, is the beginning of the season, 263. May drops down to 291, June 261, 247, 256, 201, with pretty much equal at bats through each month, 600, 599, 595, 522, 619. So he's horrible at the end of the year, hitting 200. Yeah, pretty consistent, by the way. Halfway, 242 in the first half, 241, and his lifetime batting average is 241. So I think you guys get the idea there. Yes, isn't that something, Hiroku? These guys think that he's a Hall of Famer. My goodness, I just don't get it, Hiroku. These guys, he's a Hall of Famer, and Susan Slusser has him ranked as the number 1 third baseman in baseball, above like Jose Ramirez. Above Jose Ramirez. Yeah, not even close. So, but yeah, I don't know. They get hung up on Chapman. Imagine the $25 million they're paying Chapman if they would have put it into something else and actually, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm not saying he's a horrible player. He's a good player. He's a borderline all-star at some years. He's a heck of a third baseman, great base runner, good clubhouse guy, good dude. Nothing at all against Matt Chapman. It's just his numbers offensively leave a lot to be desired. And yet the Giants act like he's the greatest thing they have had since Buster left. Maybe to them he is. I don't, I just think his numbers don't lie. So I don't know. Yeah. Actually, Daniel, I have heard them talk about Matt Chapman is that he could be a Hall of Fame player when it's all said and done. But let's hope Chapman has a good year. Let's hope that he's settled. He's with the Giants. He's with Bob Melvin. He's got a 6-year deal. Look, when you're young and you're not free agent eligible, you play for that big contract. He played for it in 23, didn't get the big multi-year deal he was hoping for. Nobody really wanted him. Only teams that were offering him deals were the Blue Jays and the Giants. And he chose the Giants on a short-term deal, opted out, and then he got the big deal. So maybe now he's happy. Maybe Chapman is like, hey, some guys, it's different what money does to everybody, right? Sometimes security will make a guy just so relaxed and he's happy and he's so relaxed that he's excels. I've seen that happen in sports. Guy becomes like, hey, I've reached the pinnacle of success. I've got the big contract that I was hoping to get when I signed in baseball. And I've got a wife, I've got a kid at home. I'm super happy, content, and they just play loose and they play great. Other guys, they get their big contract and they pull a Rendon on you, right? An Anthony Rendon. They just don't care. And baseball doesn't mean anything to them. Why do they have to even try? Some guys get the money and they go, I'm set. I don't even care. What does it matter how well I perform? I'm getting paid anyway. And then other guys are just the opposite. They're just totally thankful and they give it their all and they show their appreciation. I think Matt Chapman leans more along that way, that he shows his appreciation. He's grateful and he's going to bust his ass to prove that he is worthy of the contract, and he's going to show his ownership that he wants to be, he's going to show his gratitude by going out and playing even harder. And then again, I use the example of Anthony Rendon. The guy doesn't even want to play baseball. Doesn't even care. He got his money and that's it. And there's probably more guys like that get their money and they just don't perform anymore. It's going to be interesting to see how Juan Soto does, right? Let's see how Juan Soto does the next few years. Does Juan Soto get better? Or I think Soto's disciplined enough that he's going to be a top player still. I mean, he's very disciplined. I can't see Soto cashing it in. But sometimes it happens to players. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. So we will, I would agree with that. Chapman is good. He's not good. Oh, wait. No, he says Chapman is not good, but elite at third base. As a defender, he's elite. Absolutely, Mike. He's elite. Chapman is an elite. Here's where I have Chapman. An elite third baseman defensively. I have him, if you're doing a scale of 1 being, obviously dirt poor, 10 being exceptional elite. I've got Chapman right up there near a 10 when it comes to playing third base. He's up there on the elite level with the Arenados, the Brooks Robinsons, the all-time third baseman. When it comes to base running, I give Chapman probably like a 7+ maybe. He's a good base runner. When it comes to just overall hitting, I give Chapman probably, in today's game, I want to say average, but in today's game, Chapman's probably just over average at about a 6. But when it comes to runners in scoring position hitting for Chapman, I give him like a 2 or a 3. That's the area that if he can improve that and get to a 5, then the Giants are going to do really well. Yeah. Changing subjects to Jordan Hicks. Yeah, Farhan made a verbal agreement. Let's just hope there's nothing in writing in that contract that says he has to be a starter. You almost think there is something in writing the way they're acting, because the eye test tells you, and just telling you that the whole way he should be in the back of the bullpen, because that helps the team. That totally helps the team with Hicks being a big time reliever, because he can throw gas at 102, 103 consistently for an inning, and you make your bullpen so much stronger and better. And then Roop's a better starting pitcher. I think he will have more success. So let's hope there's nothing written in the contract. I don't think there is. I don't think that anything could be done like that where you say you're guaranteed, unless it said he's guaranteed a starter for the first 2 years. He's guaranteed in contract, but they put him in the bullpen last year. So I don't think that's it. I just think the Giants are, I don't think they're thinking like a championship team. Championship teams do what's best for the team, not the individual. So, all right, guys, we've been going an hour. I'm a little tired. It's 4:00. Warriors basketball starting here against the Atlanta Hawks minus Steph Curry. I want to go watch that. And we won't have a show tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow night, 8:00, with the Hot Corner. We'll give our season predictions, where we think the Giants will end up with wins. We'll do different players. We'll do over-unders. We'll give you the predictions of where I think every team will finish in baseball this year. So we'll do that tomorrow night. All right, guys. Curry is out. He's staying back in the Bay Area. He's got a contusion on the, I think it's on the tailbone, pelvic bone, whatever it is, contusion there. And I expect Curry maybe to miss 3 games. That's what I would do, is let him rest, get well, make sure he's 100%. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Hit that like button if you would. It really does help our show out. So on your way out, or as you're closing, hit that like button for us. Thank you, Red. As she says, go ahead and like and sub. And we will see you tomorrow night at 8:00. Go ahead and comment on the way out as we play the music to end the show. We'll put up some of those comments. And I appreciate you being here, guys. Have a great Saturday afternoon. I'm going to go watch the Dubs take on the Hawks. Go Dubs. See you tomorrow night.